Okay, so I look insanely different than I did in the last video. Firstly, I've got glasses. I can see. I can see things around me, that's a good thing. I've also got different colour hair, which is appropriate because it's going to match those pink waistcoats and turn it off tonight, because yes, I'm doing a bit of self-care and going to Mormon tonight, but as I mentioned in the previous video, I got Bonnie and Clyde tickets, so that's going to be at 2:30 today, and I'm pretty excited for it. It's Wednesday the 17th of May, which means they're in their last week of performances in London, so I'm really stoked that I got tickets before it closes, because that's sort of a similar thing that happened with Come From Away, but also not really. Anyway, on my way to Weymouth to catch a train. I'm actually feeling pretty hyped. Yeah, that's the word. Anyway, that's what's happening. I did forget to mention, tomorrow I'm going back to Weymouth to see my friend's final major project at college. They're doing We Will Rock You, and I'm really excited about it. So my plan is to try and document that as much as possible as well, because I'm really happy about that. Very, very exciting. It's going to be a really good 2 days, I think.
So eventually I made it to Weymouth. I grabbed some quick breakfast from my favourite coffee shop, and then it was train time.
Okay, so I'm on the train, but I had some pretty sad news. So obviously I was hoping to see Stevie tonight, get those last few shows in before he leaves, which is really sad actually. And he just posted on his story that he has a sore throat. So I'm gonna expect to see maybe Steven or Jed. If it's Stevie, it will be a miracle. But don't know anything about it really.
So I thought it'd be fun to show you a bit more what my train journey's like. Here's the little rolling countryside. Once I got to London, I obviously hopped on a tube to Leicester Square, which would take me over to the Garrick Theatre where Bonnie and Clyde was playing. I absolutely loved the look of this theatre. It had all of the theming and all of the pictures outside. It was so cool, and it definitely hyped me up to see this performance, and the people in front of me in the queue seemed to really enjoy it. Next I looked at the cast list, and I was so happy that Jordan Luke Gage was on as Clyde.
Okay, so I've been in theatre now, I'm sat by seat. I've got a lot of room, I noticed, and it's a really good view actually. It sounds to me as restricted, but I don't think it is at all. Really? I mean, what can I say? I haven't seen it yet, it hasn't started. Fun fact, this is my first stall seat in over a year that wasn't for Mormon, so I think that's a record. Last time I had a stall seat that wasn't for Mormon, it was July last year for Mormon, so I'm going to show you the view from this, I'm in the one, so great on the side. But yeah, it seems nice, I'm excited.
So this was the view from my seat. I actually love small, compact little theatres like this. They're so cute. It actually reminded me a lot of the Phoenix Theatre where I saw Come From Away.
Wow, so I didn't talk at all in the interval because wow. That show was amazing. Obviously I'm going to give my thoughts when I get home. Right now, my plan is to go somewhere for dinner. I have a plan. Hopefully it works out. If it does work out, you'll see that in a second, because I've got about an hour until I can get into Mormon, so great.
So my plan for dinner did work out. I went to this cute little place called Stack and Still, recommended by a friend. The staff were lovely, and I had this really nice strawberry cheesecake pancake, which was just amazing.
Okay, so fun fact about where I'm sat today. I have almost sat in every single section of this theatre. The only one I need to knock out is, I think it's Lodge 3, the one that's opposite this one exactly. This time I'm in Lodge 1, Seat 1, so it's one of the lower down ones. I'm really happy with that. Come on. Ushers are lovely. Dinner was also lovely, the staff in there were amazing. I hate eating out alone, so friendly staff means I don't freak out as much as I would. So that's fun, but I'm very excited to be back. Again, all of the front of house staff know me by now. Funnily enough, one of them was actually at the Bonnie and Clyde matinee that I was at today. She said she thought she saw me. So it's a small world really, but yeah, I'm excited for Mormon. Yeah. I'm on the train home now, going back to Weymouth. I've got my breakfast with me, always. Always. We know that by now. but this isn't where it's going to end, because obviously I'm going to see my friend's performance of We Will Rock You at Weymouth College, so I'm really excited about that. Don't know how much of that I'm going to film, but I might just do like voiceover for it, you know, because too many people, especially ones that I know, like that's too embarrassing for me, but you'll definitely see parts of it, you know. Anyway, we're not going to talk about the fact that I spent 40 extra quid to get a later train because I left my cousin's house too late in the morning, but
as you can see, I was very, 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 very tired on my way home, and also angry that I had to spend that extra £40 just to get home. But I wasn't even going home, I was going back to Weymouth. What was that, Zoom? Anyway, yes, beautiful, beautiful Weymouth. Again, back by the coast, ready to see We Will Rock You. And let me tell you, when I got into the auditorium, the stage looked really cool, and I was just really, really excited to see my friends perform again. It looked awesome, and it was awesome.
Okay, so I didn't really film that at all, but my friends did amazingly. They were so good, and it's making me want to go to when it opens in London for the limited time. Like really, I genuinely want to see it professionally as well. You know, if that happens, it happens, but if it doesn't, then, you know, I've seen it once and my friends are in it, which is great, you know. I'm literally just walking home. I'm nearly there. It's been a long 2 days. I'm working tomorrow, so I'm just gonna try and sleep. But I'll hopefully film my little Bonnie and Clyde review soon. Again, I'm not talking about Mormon. There was nothing new. No one came in apart from Stevie being like violently ill. He still did the show, by the way. Don't know if I said that. He did. He still did. Bless him. Anyway, that ends this part of the video.
Okay, so I'm here for my Bonnie and Clyde review. I'm also, again, not going to talk about Mormon, but I am going to mention a few things that happened that I'm really excited about. But since I'm not going to be talking about Mormon, I actually wore this t-shirt for this review. I don't know where it's from. I don't know how Connor got it, but he just like sent it to me on a whim. Which was really sweet of him, but it has all of the song titles in the background, and also it's got a Mormon in the middle. I feel like this was homemade, maybe from Etsy, because the position in the middle is the Newsies Broadway poster. Anyway, I don't know where it's from, but it's cute. So staying on the track of Mormon for now, I might as well just show you my Mormon stuff first and then get into Bonnie and Clyde. So I did actually manage to give up my artwork and see the guys that I wanted to see, which was really nice. So I have Gavin's here that he signed for me at the top. Love Gavin Alex. I also got a picture with him, a few selfies, they were fun. Because I was on my own, there wasn't really anyone to take pictures, so you know, except this one that I got with Connor that I got some random woman to take for us. She'd seen the show, it wasn't like we picked someone off the street. Anyway, I saw Jed Hoyle again, and I gave him his Pop-Tarts fan art, and he wrote "I love them so much" on the top, so that's, I think that's really cute and special. He really liked the little Pop-Tart. And then I was also able to give the Brigham Young fan art to Philip Catchpole that he signed at the top. And I actually did manage to give my new piece of artwork to Tad. I did give it to him in the plastic wallet, as I said, and he really appreciated it, and to keep it even more safe, he went and put it back in the door to, I guess, collect the next day or whatever. I also got my first picture and signature from Jed B. I also got a signature from Jack N. There's two Jacks, there's two Jeds, it's very confusing, but I got their signatures too. As I said, Stevie, bless him, was really sick. So I didn't really get a picture or autograph or anything from him. We had a brief chat, and I did actually give him Ross's Mormon art to give him, but other than that, we didn't interact as much. But yeah, I did have a special time at Mormon, and it is one of my favourite shows. I am just so grateful for what's come out of the Book of Mormon and seeing it as much as I have, because I've been talking to ushers about, you know, how much it costs to move, how much money they make, sort of like how easy is it to get a job. Like, I'm sort of trying to introduce myself a bit into the industry,
and hopefully I have a plan to eventually maybe move up there and work in a theatre space. And honestly, I feel like sticking around the same people and talking to them a lot about the industry, like, it's going to help a lot. And I was even talking to some of my old teachers at college about it, and they said that's really good, and it's good that you're still, you know, putting yourself into the industry, because I didn't choose to go to uni, and I don't think it's really for me. So the fact that I'm sort of still around and sort of looking at various job opportunities is good, and it's a positive thing. I even talked to some ushers at Bonnie and Clyde about it. One of them was really, really sweet. She actually used to work at Mormon, which is, I don't know, maybe why we had that connection and a nice conversation. But yeah, it's just absolutely insane to me how much this show means to me and how much it's done for me. So, yeah. Anyway, you know what time it is. It's time to talk about Bonnie and Clyde at the Garrick Theatre. As I mentioned, I didn't know anything about the true story, any of the music in the show, nothing like that. So I didn't know what to expect. I was absolutely blown away by this production, and the fact that it was a real story, I feel like it was actually very respectful to the sort of victims in the situations. And I think that's because it focused more on Bonnie and Clyde. And also I feel like the thing that sort of brought away from the seriousness was it had so much humour in it. And it was actually a lot funnier than I expected going in. One of the highlights of the comedy was Jodie Steele as Blanche Barrow. She was the wife of Clyde's brother, and she was just absolutely a ray of sunshine. She was just like, she had the perfect comedic timing, the perfect facial expressions, just everything about her was just funny. Like, it was nice to have that sort of contrast between, I don't know, Clyde and Bonnie's relationship. Sorry, Bonnie and Clyde sounds better. Yeah, she was just absolutely incredible. Even when she wasn't really involved in a scene and she was just like off to the side, I had my eyes on her because I was like, I know she's gonna do something funny. And yeah, she didn't disappoint. She had, I was gonna say, oh, she had the character down, but I don't really know the character, but I feel like she does. I feel like that's a very accurate thing, as someone who hasn't seen the Broadway one or anything about it. I feel like, yeah, she was a perfect fit, and she just made it really, really enjoyable. Obviously, it was really special also to see Jordan Luke Gage's final performances as Clyde. I was honestly scared that he wouldn't be on. Like, I was really anticipating seeing him because his version of Raise a Little Hell is so good, and it was also really good on stage. I think he played the character perfectly. Like, he's supposed to be, I don't know, very conflicted in his actions, but then eventually he's just like, no, this is the only way I can do things. And he did a really good job at playing the very manipulative role for Bonnie. I don't know how their relationship was in real life, but I feel like it was a lot of coercion and manipulation coming from Clyde to get Bonnie to stick around. I feel like, yeah, she was abused by him, and I think that they performed that really well. Yeah, his singing voice was amazing, his emotion was amazing, just everything. Like, you could tell every single thought that was going through that character's head. And that's really important, especially for a character like that, as complex as he is. And there was such a contrast between, say, his relationship with Bonnie, which was very toxic and abusive and manipulative, compared to his relationship with his family and all of that. You know, when he gets locked up and his family is still, you know, very much there for him, even if they don't really agree with what he's doing. He definitely still had a soft spot for his family. In the end, which I thought was, I guess, kind of sweet. Yeah, I can say that. I'm so happy that I got to see him in the role, because I think he didn't do, I think it said in his bio that he didn't do Wednesday evenings and Saturday matinees. So since I went to a Wednesday matinee, I was like, phew, probably gonna get Jordan, and I did, and he was so good, so good as Clyde. I think we had the alternate Bonnie Parker. I'm not too sure, but I think that's who it was. Okay, yes, I just checked. We did have the lovely Lauren Jones as Bonnie Parker for our performance. She was really good. I think she really embodied the sort of naivety and big dream young woman in that time period who really wanted to just go out and be famous. Like, she really had that, and I think it mixed really well with Jordan playing the sort of manipulative boyfriend of Bonnie. Because, you know, even when she realised that Clyde wasn't going to stop, she wasn't going to get where she wanted to be, he punched her back down again and sort of into place. So I think she held that really, really well. Obviously, all her big dreams about going to Hollywood and that made her a very egocentric character, which means she didn't really care about, like, what she had to do to get where she wanted to be, but then obviously she realised that that life of crime wasn't going to lead her to that. So that it was nice seeing that sort of shift in her personality where she sort of finally snapped, even though that didn't really work. But yeah, I feel like their chemistry actually really worked and they sort of bounced off of each other quite well. And I do like how even though Clyde sort of knew that she wasn't really going to get anywhere with the life that they were leading, he sort of encouraged it. Like he always complimented her poetry, her singing, every time she sort of mentioned that they'd made it into the paper. So yeah, I think it really worked for their characters, and that they were sort of, I guess, manipulating each other in a way, because obviously Bonnie's trying to get Clyde to not do any of this and, you know, take what money they have and go to Hollywood and make her famous. And then on the other hand, Clyde's like, no, we can't do that because I'm gonna get arrested no matter what. So yeah, I think their personalities and characters bounced off of each other really, really well. Obviously, I don't really know anything about the real couple. I feel like I need to do a lot more research into that. And I definitely will, because I did love this production and it's made me want to look into the actual true story, and maybe it has some bits about their relationship. And I feel like it would, because otherwise, you know, how would they document that so well, if that makes sense? She also had a stunning, stunning voice, and again, that's very, you know, intentional for the kind of character that she is. So yeah, she had a very strong, beautiful, powerful voice, especially when she started singing How About a Dance. Like, that's really what sets Clyde into being like, yes, I'm in love with this woman, I'm going to manipulate her. Bonnie also kind of reminded me of, like, Maya Goth in X and Pearl. I know those are horror movies and kind of set apart from all of that, but they're both very similar in character, so as I was watching it I was kind of comparing the two, not in a bad way, but sort of, yeah, relating it to these girls who really wanted to become famous and wanted to become stars within Hollywood, and then when they couldn't, they just turned to violence and crime and all of that. It's a very interesting, well, I was going to say trope, but obviously Bonnie and Clyde is the real story, but it is an interesting trope, and the thing I really enjoyed was the set. It was a minimal set, which I think also set the tone for the sort of quite dark show, because it was very dimly lit, you know, there wasn't much on stage to really set the scene. Like, there wasn't backdrops, so like in scenes where it was like their bunker, there would just be like a bed, maybe a bathtub, some tables, what have you, a door maybe, but yeah, there was no sort of backdrop to anything. But the thing I did enjoy when they did do it was the projection. So if you remember, this is how the stage looked when I walked in. For those of you who don't know the story about Bonnie and Clyde, when they died, they were basically shot up in their car. And that bullet hole in the middle of the stage is like, you know, the bullet ripping through the car window. And they started with the ending. So when it started, that whole glass projection shattered, and there were strobes and bullet sounds, and then it showed the car. And yeah, I thought that was just really, really clever. And I think I mentioned this, Back to the Future, they use projections to make the car look like it's moving. Well, they did that with their car in this production, but they also did it when Jordan/Clyde was running through the prison during Raising All Hell, and with the music, it just made it look so awesome. So I really liked the look of the show. Also, another cool thing, I was talking to an usher after the performance just to give her my thoughts on it, because she was like a massive fan of this production. And in the end, when they do get shot up in the car, it ends with them making out in the car, and then they get shot, and then they're found. And one thing I learned from the usher about the stage trick of how they get all the blood over their face is that whilst they're making out, they're rubbing the fake blood on each other's face. And while this is, just, a clever theatre trick to get the makeup on their face without them having to leave the stage, it also kind of represents the fact that their love is what kind of caused this. Like, their love caused their murder. So I think as well as being a cool theatre trick, it's also very symbolic about the ending of the show and what actually happened. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Bonnie and Clyde. I absolutely love this production. That's going to wrap it up for today's video. I was trying to get it out as soon as possible because this week I am going back to Newsies with Connor, and I am also seeing the Book of Mormon. And yeah, I've been on holiday for the past week, so I didn't have time to really do anything. So I'm trying to sort of speed this out now. Anyway, yeah, no, I really like this production. It's going on tour next year, so that's another one to add to my list, as well as Come From Away. And yeah, it was just absolutely amazing. I loved it. In other news, I now have tickets to We Will Rock You at the London Coliseum for its limited run. As I mentioned earlier in the video, I really wanted to get them. While I was on holiday, I got some, so yay! I'm really excited about it. So yeah, that was my review of Bonnie and Clyde. I will see you in the next video. Bye!